All right, big dreams. That's what we're talking about today. Big dreams on this crappy, crummy day. It's been raining for the last 2 straight days.
Does the sun even come out anymore?
So I just been laying around dreaming for the last 2 days. That's all I've done. Not really, but that is the topic of the day. And this is something that has really come pretty natural for me, and I feel like I've always done. But now that I've asked people about their dreams, I realize not everybody spends time doing that.
No, I don't think I do after talking to you.
Okay. So, well, good. This will be good then. Maybe we'll get a little insight from what it's like on the, from the side that maybe doesn't do so much dreaming. Like I said, I thought this was more of a natural thing that everybody was always thinking about what the future holds and what it looks like. Like I said, the more I've asked the question, the more I've gotten I really don't know what my life could look like in 2 years or 5 years or 10 years. And as I talk to a lot of busy moms and busy professionals, I'm just trying to get through the day or the week. And I think a lot of people would say that sounds pretty damn familiar.
Yep.
Is that how you feel sometimes?
Yeah, I think that's probably where we've found ourselves. Now, there is some dreaming, but I think we spend more time just trying to get through the moment than we do thinking of the potential moments to come.
Yeah. So, and this is a really, really important thing because so many people and social media does not help with this. Mm-hmm. Social media only makes us think about the past. This is where I used to be. This is what I used to look like. This is what I used to do. Sure. And then we put ourselves in where we're at, and it may not be, and takes us down this hole opposed to what's on the other side, or it just keeps us present. So I think more people spend more time in the present than in the past than they do in the present and future. And I would say I spend a lot of time in the present / future, not a whole lot of time in the past. And the past just doesn't serve me very well.
No.
It's fun to think about sometimes, but at the end of the day, it doesn't move the needle.
No, I think that's a very interesting perspective.
So that's why I want to talk about it today and really bring up why spending time actually focusing and spending time dreaming first, and then we're going to turn how to take that and turn it into actual action. Mm-hmm. And the steps that's going to take, and give you a little, maybe some personal examples too along the way of what that looks like. So first off, like I said, spend time dreaming. What does that even mean? So, I like 2 years. 2 years to me is a good dreaming because it actually feels obtainable. It's within my grasp, but it's still, I have time to get there. 5-10 years, I spend a little bit of time in there, but not near as much as I do probably in the 2 to 4 range.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
I do think big picture, okay, and, in 10, 15 years, I'll be doing these things, but those don't lead me to take action right now. When I think of the dreams that I have for 2 and 3 and 4 years, there's an action plan that now gets associated with that. So the first thing is, like I said, just spend time laying down, maybe close your eyes, try to envision what would be the best case scenario for you in 2 to 4 years. And just think about it. And then the next step would be to write it down. And as you know, there's some reality that comes when we start to write things down.
Yep. I actually, in class today, and it was appropriate, so I wrote it down. Dreams are in our head. Goals are written down on a piece of paper.
Yeah. So now that you say that, there's a big difference to me, I think, when we talk about goal setting and dreaming. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times, in the past, I've always asked people, what's your goal? What's your goal? But I always get these vague answers. Always the same thing. I want to lose some weight, blah, blah, blah. But is that really what you want? What does it look like? But nobody knows what that looks like. So they didn't dream about it. They just made it a goal, and it came out of nowhere. Versus when you dream about something and you really vision it, it becomes a vision. You know what losing weight does for you. You know what it looks like. You know what it looks like on you. You know what it allows you to do that you can't do currently. For me, I dream, most of mine is about Pulse. Where is Pulse going to be in 2 years? Where is it going to be in 4 years? What's the vision for it? And I could very detailed go through how much time you got. I could tell you what Pulse I want it to look like in 2 to 4 years. And it would probably take me 30 to 40 minutes. It's that detailed in my head of what it should look like and what I want it to look like. So now, writing those things down, and then I work backwards I'm working backwards to figure out, okay, well, it's going to cost this much to make those things happen. So I have to raise this much money. I have to come up with this much capital or whatever I need to do. The pieces start to line themselves up and they become much smaller and more bite-sized versus this overwhelming, like, oh yeah, I just want a brand new gym or whatever that may be, which that is, my dream is to build a new facility and make Pulse exactly the way I want it as I go off into the sunset.
And that's interesting the way you put that. When I say I probably don't spend enough time dreaming, I think I go right to the goal stage and I don't spend enough time dreaming. I will sit down and put stuff to paper and probably don't have a quite good enough vision because there's not the thinking aspect. There's just the writing aspect.
And if it's just the goal and you don't have the vision, then it loses its excitement.
Yeah.
I was talking today to somebody about this, and they, 2 years from now, what do you want to be doing? And part of it was travel, and she said Hawaii or Banff. I was like, okay. Do you know what that trip actually looks like? Like, what would you be doing on that trip? Have you looked at pictures and went through and very detailed and envisioned yourself on that hike, underneath that waterfall, on that beach, whatever it is? Like, you have to see yourself there, so that way the excitement builds up and now you're ready to take action, and it's exciting to take action. So then you can start to like, okay, well, these things cost this much money, so now we need to save $30,000. Okay, but we have 2 years. So month by month, break that down, whatever it is, I'm just making up numbers, but now it becomes, okay, we need to save $800 a month. Okay, well, that doesn't sound so out of this world. Versus people have ideas and then they automatically cash them in and say, that's not for me, that's too expensive, we could never do that. Mm-hmm. Or I could never do that thing because, that's just too hard, I don't run. But they never envision themselves crossing a finish line, envision themselves at the top of a mountain, whatever, and get super excited to be like, no, I could, and I have a year or whatever, and I work backwards.
Now, as you say that, I already was going through my mind, and I'm envisioning a time where I did do this, when we had the dream of building a house, and some stuff went on paper, but there was a lot of time thinking about it, envisioning what a house would look like, and then where we wanted property, and then looking at properties, then starting a property budget, and then it became, we bought a piece of property, and then we started meeting with an architect and putting a plan together, and then revising and replanning, and then it ended up, what did we have? We bought land, and then 6-7 years later started building a house, and so it was a 10-year vision. So
sure,
good. But now that you say that, I guess I do dream.
So just thinking back on that, like if you didn't dream about it, do you think the house that you have today would have happened?
No.
Or could you just be stuck in the same house that you lived in before you built the new one?
Either that, or you end up in another place where you're not happy.
Even, just thinking about that, like where Pulse is today, it's crazy. I think back about it, and I used to run past the building where we're at now when it was Armbruster Heating, and it was sitting there empty, filled with stacks of paper in this front office. And I can remember just being like, man, this would be a perfect location. Like, this is the size that I could see a lot of things happening, and what a great location. But I just kept running by it, but never really thought. But then when the opportunity came, I was ready because I'd already thought about it. I was ready for that moment that when I was looking for a new space to rent, the guy's like, well, this building's for sale. And I was like, yeah, like that would be, I already know that would be perfect. Mm-hmm. And, everything came to fruition. But, I believe that it's because I've prepped myself mentally to be ready for that moment. Like
That's
I knew
awesome.
what that place would look like. I had the vision of what it would look like if that was a gym in my head for a really long time. And then when the opportunity came, I was able to jump on it because I was prepared.
Wow, that is awesome.
So that's my own personal journey and why Pulse is where it is today. And it's about dreaming big. You have any other examples of where you feel like maybe you've done some dreaming?
That was really the big one that was on the forefront of my mind. Because until you mentioned it, I didn't think I did much dreaming. I think you certainly dream about, where your kids are going to end up, and you have thoughts and plans and dreams for them. And you certainly work as parents to day by day to make that happen. But,
are you putting yourself into that vision though? Where do you fit in with them?
Yeah, I think we do. We're already starting to think about, where we want to live. Ultimately, you don't know where your kids are going to end up, but we'd like to be in their lives. So we're trying to set ourselves up in a position where we can be there to be in their lives, wherever their lives may be.
So that's good. So again, maybe you do it more than you think.
Yeah.
But again, I think it's just so important that people start to wrap their head around it. And it can be, you got to dream in all different aspects too. What do your kids' stuff look like? What is your future? What does your travel? What does your health look like? And really put yourself, look down on yourself in whatever situation it is and make sure you're in there. Whoever it is, if you're, like I said, you're with your kids, like make sure you're somewhere in the picture. Mm-hmm. It's not just about them.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
And again, often we do so much for everybody else, but we're not giving our best if we're not our best. And that's where, preach that to forever. You always put your mask on first, that you have to be your best to give anybody else your best. So any other thoughts on dreaming, or does that make sense on how to put it all together and run it back? So if we, first off, it's just sitting and thinking and dreaming. Now put the dream, start to write it out in full paragraphs, like very detailed as you can get. So that way you can look at that and know where you're going. Like that should be your North Star and guide you wherever you want to go, is whatever your dream is and what's on paper. Sure. And then now you take that big dream that you've written in paragraphs, find out what's the action item. What do I need for that to happen? Do I need to be healthier? Do I need more money? Do I need more time for myself? How long will it take for this to happen? And then you get to work backwards and start to divide everything out by however much time you have to get to wherever it is that you want to go. And if we simplify it that way, but again, you may have to start by setting a time to literally give yourself 20 minutes to do nothing but think about the future. Mm-hmm. Turn your phone off, get away from Facebook, all those things that suck us back into the past and out of the present and out of the future. Get away from those things.
Yeah.
And really try to and have fun with it. Like it should be a fun thing to do.
They're dreams.
Yeah. Dreams there is no right or wrong answer. You can't screw this up. Except for not doing it. That's the only way to screw it up is don't do it.
And dream big.
Like huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Best case scenario. Best thing you could possibly think of. Because if you don't, you're selling yourself short. Yeah. You will come up short. Those things aren't just going to pop up in front of your face. Mm-hmm. Or if they do, you won't be ready. And that's, lack of being prepared. Some people say, oh man, they got lucky. No, they were prepared. Mm-hmm. Their eyes were open when the person that they needed to know popped in front of them. They were ready to say, I need your help. Or they're ready to make that decision because they've already thought about it. They didn't just get lucky to run across somebody. Mm-hmm. So that's my vision. That's my dream. That's my thoughts on it.
Yep.
So I hope this is helpful. Let us know what your big dreams are. And hopefully, and if you need some help getting there, absolutely let us know.
Yeah.
And we'll guide you.
Sure thing. Sounds great.
Thank you.
Thank you.